Hello, this is Ray Weedell with another version of the backstory, and this one is going to be a very important version for you. It's going to be a little bit longer. I appreciate your patience. I have a shorter synopsis of it up on the social media sites. This one has to do with FSBOs, for sale by owner. Major negative term to most real estate agents. But I'm going to tell you one thing. You can sell your own home. FSBOs are a legitimate alternative for you to consider. But please don't just jump into it. It's worth your consideration. Now, why is this? The world today is just fascinated with all things Amazon. We're going to make everything an online transaction. You're going to have $6 billion with a B in the last 5 years spent on technology-based companies in all sorts of areas. Now, the ones that are going to do things that are going to help me make myself more efficient in the real estate world, that's a very small percentage, but I'll listen to them. I'll use them. Thank you very much. But for the most part, most of these are into creating a different kind of real estate agent company or just eliminating and wiping out the real estate agent and supposedly saving you money. That is a big farce. That isn't happening. It's not going to happen. I'll get into that on a different video. This one here with FSBO, I understand why this is happening. Look, there were 1.3 million real estate agents in the United States last year. More than half of them didn't do a single transaction. There's a huge disparity between the few who really know what they're doing. They're full-time agents. This is really their profession, and they dig in and they learn the technology that's worthwhile. They learn everything. They know negotiation, blah, 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 versus the overwhelming majority that don't. More than half didn't do a single transaction. Many of the others are so-called, weekend warriors. I do this on the weekend, and I work during the week at an IT job somewhere. Please stop this. You want a full-time agent. You want somebody who's completely focused on helping you. So I can understand that when you run into all kinds of people who say, I'm a licensed real estate agent, and that's what you see most of the time. I can see the frustration where you'd want to sell your own house. I really can. Now, Zillow came out with a survey. Why do FSBOs choose to do it alone? Here's the solution they came up with. The three things. 57% said they think they'll save money. 36% said they think they'll save time. 27% said they know their market, their home, and their area better than any realtor does, so they can do a better job than the realtor can. That's just their survey. The conclusion from Zillow is accurate. Most FSBO sellers have good intentions, but their knowledge is much weaker than they realize when it comes to the entire process and what it takes to put your house on the market to get and then get it to settlement in a way that's less stressful and makes more profitable and the like. I promise you, the backstory will always give you real talk, not realtor talk. We will not avoid tough subjects. We'll delve into subjects that a lot of other people refuse to even talk about. So here's real talk. FSBO owners have a legitimate concern when they think about coughing over 6% to an agent. And a lot of people, and a lot of times it's the least experienced agents because their brokers tell them to say this, will reel off a couple of bullet points on why they're worth 6%. And you and I and everybody else knows it's nonsense. There are very few agents in the elite class. Most of them realize that there's nothing sacred about the 6%. They're going to talk to you about what makes sense to them, what makes sense to you, what's really a responsible commission rate to negotiate. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to have that discussion. They will market and promote your home in ways that it really should be and could be and isn't in most cases, regardless of what people will tell you. Everybody wants to say they're a marketing machine. It's kind of a joke that everybody makes that claim. Most of them aren't. The great agents will work closely with you to understand the entire process. Now, this is including but not limited to these things. How they can minimize the issues, how they can reduce your stress, how they can keep showings under control, how they know how to communicate with other agents who comes through and figure out who really is a prospect here and who's not, and follow up and then negotiate the proper terms and conditions and home inspections and appraisals and everything else and get you to settlement in a way that is saving you time, energy, stress, and making you more money. It's a skill, it's an art. It's not something that can be Amazoned away, and it's not something you're going to be able to do by yourself unless you're an extremely special person. It's just basically not going to happen. You need to get agents who have experience, but they're also tech enabled. They're aware of what's going on today and how things have been changing as well. I strongly encourage you to limit yourself to just those people. So here's the reality of today's market. We are shifting from an intense supply shortage where prices were rising despite all kinds of factors which tell you they shouldn't. Higher interest rates, the most obvious one. We're shifting, as we said you would. We said before the year started that this supply shortage was going to drive prices higher, and it would override other factors like higher interest rates, which economists were telling you to worry about. Now, we were telling you that the market's about to shift. I've been saying that for months. Get your house on the market now while the situation is really good for you. If you have to sell, don't wait 6 months, don't wait 12 months. But that's over now. The market's already shifting. We are going to see more new construction. We are going to see more listings in 2019. More people who think they missed the boat, or who's just the natural thing. It's just that's on their plan. They're selling for 2019. There's going to be many more listings. Meanwhile, buyers are faced with higher prices, higher interest rates, and all kinds of other factors, which are kind of going to be a constraint on that side. So this idea of buyers here and sellers here, and the scales are shifting, we're somewhere in here right now. It's going to go this way. There's going to be, at some point in 2019, excess supply over demand. You don't want to get stuck in that situation. So, think about it. Even though things are shifting, they haven't totally shifted yet. The need for a quality agent in this kind of market is really important. It's no longer the case where you just stick a sign out on the lawn and you're going to get an immediate offer. And by the way, there was very little of this driving, competing offer, bidding war type thing going on in Northern Virginia. Yes, in D.C. more, but not in Northern Virginia. Most people were hitting the list price, and quickly, and boom, it was out. And that's basically how the sales were happening. And a lot of things were listed too low, quite frankly. Could have sold for a lot higher price. But we're not in that market anymore. You need to hire an agent that gets that and understands where we are and where we're going. Now, as far as a FSBO, it is highly unlikely that you will succeed as a FSBO in a way that would be better than what you could have gotten from an experienced agent. That's generally the case. It is really going to be the case when this shift that's going on takes hold. You're going to really need a really good agent this year. And we all love lists. Let me give you a couple of factors why I'm saying this. Just why do FSBOs consistently sink, and why it's not going to be wise for you to do this. One, emotional attachment clouds people's judgment. Now, you need a professional partner whose strength, the knowledge, they'll keep it real. They'll keep you on track and keep the emotions out of it. There's a myriad of situations that come up, from initial pricing, marketing, negotiating price, all the way to final closing. You really need a professional on that. It's, even if you were great yourself, you're emotionally attached. Many of you that do online trading and stocks probably find this out as well. It's tough when you're emotionally attached. You don't make the kind of decisions that you need to make sometimes. FSBO owners, they underestimate the power and the cost of real marketing. If you really want to market and effectively promote your home, it takes a lot of time and it takes quite a bit of money. And generally, the agent is responsible for doing that. If you have to pay for it yourself, it's money down the tubes for you, and you're not going to get it back. So, to be honest, there are few agents for whom promotion is in their wheelhouse, so to speak, where they're really, really, really good at it. Those are the agents you need to consider. Make them prove it to you. Showing your home is an extremely restrictive process, by the way. It can be very inconvenient. You need somebody who can control that and figure that out and be there to make sure they get immediate feedback. And that somebody doesn't show up 2 hours later than they said. All kinds of things can happen. You need an agent to work on that. Showing your own home is a real hassle. If you're trying to do it yourself and make the contacts, it's a real hassle. Hassle for the buyer too, by the way. And FSBOs historically sell for lower prices. That's a fact. You think about it. You're a buyer of a FSBO. Don't you assume that you can bid lower because that guy's saving money by not paying an agent? And that's the immediate thought of every buyer looking at a FSBO. Well, this guy's not paying an agent, so I got 3, 5, 6% right there in my pocket. I can bid lower and he'll go for it. So there's your savings wiped out just on that. And most studies are confirming that at best, this is at best, the typical successful FSBO nets the same amount of money as if they used an agent. Plus you had to go through all the hassles yourself. And that's the successful ones. So if that's the best you're going to do, why not hire a professional partner to make things smoother? It's easy. I mean, we don't bite. We like to work with people. That's what we do for a living. The better ones, they love people. They love, the buyer is not an adversary. The buyer agent's not an adversary. It's a partner. We're going to close the house with them. That's what you need. That's the kind of person you need. And last but not least, the potential liability in selling a house. Why not give it to the agent? You think there's not a dozen or more legal pitfalls that you might encounter in a sale that you're not aware of? At least there's dozens of them. Why would you assume that responsibility? You are a top flight agent. You're not going to hire just anybody. You're going to hire a top flight agent. Let them take care of it. Let them take the risk. And some things can happen, by the way. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. You don't want the legal liability, period. Now, this is way too volatile a time for you to mess around with trying to sell your own house. That's the bottom line. The alternative of working with a top flight realtor at a reasonable fee is one that 99% of FSBO sellers should be choosing in today's market. I'll leave that 1% out there for those people who are in a unique situation that, go ahead and sell your own house. I welcome a detailed discussion on this topic. I welcome discussing the proper strategies we can agree on to market and sell your house. Please, my number's on the screen. Call me, text me, email me, however it is. I love to talk about these things. I love to talk about how we're going to promote your house. We should have that discussion. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. And remember, in today's world, it's the same as always. Your strategy matters, and your passion rules. This is Ray Weedell. Thank you.